Hey everybody, I'm Yvonne with Back to Earth Creations and welcome to my craft room. In this video I am demonstrating how to make a Celtic Visions star charm using the July 2026 Craft Along kit. Oh, you can hear my Z-Dog tippity-tappeting in the back. So this is the project that we're going over today, but stay tuned for our Sunday Craft Along live streams from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. on Sundays. You can find our streaming schedule at the bottom of our homepage at backtoearthcreations.com. But we'll be going over other projects that can be done with this kit. But just to get you started, we're working on the Celtic Visions star charm today. So that being said, a kit is not required though. All the tools and materials will be listed down in the video description, as well in our notification newsletter that we send out anytime we have new tutorials, live streams, and shop updates. More information can be found at backtoearthcreations.com. So I want to show you real quick, in case this is your very first time getting into chainmail, when your rings will come like this, where they're just kind of offset just a little bit, and that's because whenever they're coiled, it's just one long piece of wire that's been coiled and then is saw cut. So there's also a teeny tiny gap where the saw removed some material to cut it. I only send out saw cut in our kits because that's what I like to use, and so I want to set you all up for success. So whenever I'm closing, I don't want to just be holding my ring with the tippy tip fine points of my pliers. Here I'm using bent nose pliers and tapered flat nose pliers, but use whatever is comfortable in your hand. And so whenever we're closing the rings, I actually like to wiggle, and I'm applying inward pressure from both hands, like just to overdo it, like pushing in like that, that's too much. But even if that happens, we can kind of open them up a little bit. So maybe practice destroying a few rings, just to kind of get the idea. And also whenever we open the rings, I like to open them this way, as opposed to, I don't want to be opening the ring like this. Because for one, it's disrupting the nice round shape of the ring, and it's also going to make some brittle points. It's pretty difficult to get a good closure on that again. And if we do it too much, this aluminum's very forgiving, but that's less than ideal, I feel. And in a project like chainmail, where it's all just open and closed rings like this, I just put them in fairy bottles because, or toss them out or something, because it's no good. Like it's really going to reflect in your work. So be sure to focus on quality. Oh no. Okay, so I'm gonna open up our little pack here. Yeah, the quality of your openings and close, like opens and close opening, the quality of your closures is gonna really show in your work. So that's the thing to focus on. And so again, just as an example, to open, I just open it like that. And this allows me, I'm right-handed, and so it allows me to just hook. I can hold by here and just hook through our different rings. If I were left-handed, I may be functioning a little bit more like this, so that I can go through like that. But either way, you'll find, the more you practice, you'll find your favorite way of doing it, and you'll do great, I'm sure. And so we need, let me zoom out here just a little bit. What we need for this project are 3 16-gauge 1/4 inch rings, which are odd sizes, are going to be in the little baggie, and you will want them open. I have 2 of them here for the bail and 1 for the center ring set up here. You'll want 26 of the 18-gauge 3/16 inch rings, and I'm having 15 of those closed and 11 open. Like, you can kind of screenshot that if that's helpful to you. And then we will have 15 of our 16-gauge 5/16 inch rings all open, and then 4 of the wee bitty rings that are here in our mixed pack that are 18-gauge 1/8 inch, and you'll want those all open as well. So while you get your rings set up, let me show you what you can expect in your July 2026 craft-along kit. Now, as usual, the level 1 or $15 kit just has these 3 pretty cabochons. It's perfect for anybody who you already have all the wire and chainmail and polymer clay that you could possibly need, and you just want some pretty cabs. And then we also have the project packs that are the chainmail. So here you can see an example of our $25 kit, our $35 kit, our $45 kit, and our $55 kit, which I think is the best bang for your buck, and especially because you're getting so many unique cabochons. And if I were to be getting a kit, this is the kit that I would want, because I mean, just look at those beautiful cabs. You get all these rings, lots of fun. Oh, the kits feature these homemade green glass cabochons that have some beautiful shimmering aventurine in them. For our frit style cabochons for the month of July, we're experimenting with some iridescent glass, so you can really see some of them have really beautiful crackly colors in them. It's hard to capture it on camera. And then we have a broad selection of dichroic glass that you may recognize from previous month's kits, but we're making some more designs or some more styles and colors as well to flesh out the July dichroic glass selection. Alrighty, so hopefully your rings are all ready. If they're not, go ahead and pause the video and get to where we're set up. We're going to take one of our 16 gauge 1/4 inch rings, and we are going, it's open, and we are going to put 10 of those closed little rings, the 18 gauge 3/16. From here on, when I say little ring, it's the 18 gauge 3/16. When I say large ring, it's the 16 gauge 5/16. And then I'll specify for the other 2 sizes, but otherwise my brain just gets all jumbled saying all these numbers a bunch, and it's just big and small. And so it's a little tight to get in there. Oh, that's what I was talking earlier. It's a lot easier to, instead of holding, just with the tips of my pliers, I like to hold as broad of a portion of the ring as I can. Like, let me show you one. A picture is worth 1,000 words. So, but yeah, instead of trying to open or close a ring by holding like this, if I hold like this, I have so much more control and contact with the ring. And so again, the more you practice, the more you'll find your favorite way. But if you're having difficulty, see if there's a way that you can, hold your pliers or something that is more favorable to how you like to weave. Because really, so long as the weave looks like how you want it to, it's comfortable to wear and is holding together, and your closures are good, you did it right. From there, just craft until you're happy. So we have 10 closed rings of the small onto our 16 gauge 1/4 inch, sorry. And now I'm going to come through and I'm going to hook, not through 3, but just through 2. Right there. And then I'm going to put one of these, actually this one I'm going to put 2 closed on, because we are doing a center layer of our Celtic star. Trust the process, you guys. And we also do have other live streams and other tutorials where we have addressed different ways of doing this design. And so we've closed that ring, and I've kind of shifted one ring over. I'm going to take another of our open large rings. I'm going to hook through that one that we've added, and then I'm going to hook through the next 2 in line from that center ring. Oh, I gotta go pay attention to that doggy. But before I close it, let's open it back up and put another closed ring on there, and then we'll close it. So I'll be right back, you guys. Alrighty, so this is a perfect opportunity for, let's say you have dropped your project and it's like, oh no, where was I? I focus on looking for either that cluster of small rings in the center or one of the large rings, and then I just pick it up and let it hang. And then, okay, there's one large ring, here's the other large ring. And so that it can just kind of help you to reorient yourself. But we're going to come around, and again, I'm working counterclockwise, but you could totally work from the other direction, which would look like putting a closed ring onto your large ring, hooking through 1, 2, and then hooking through that one that was added. So you could go in whichever direction feels more comfortable and natural for you. I just sometimes get in my way of doing things and then just keep doing that. So, and again, I'm just going to hook through 1, 2. We don't want to be skipping any rings like that. It needs to be the next 2 in line, and then we're going to hook through that closed one. Oh, and I forgot, this will be our last closed one that we add to the big rings. And then let's go ahead and close that. Just for efficiency of like movement, I'm going to go ahead and bring all of my big rings over here so I'm not having to reach across. I was just trying to get my work area prepped, but it saves, so whenever you're doing like, you know, bunches, like repetitive, you know, so much of something, having a very comfortable and efficient range of motion can really be very helpful, and just cutting down on the crafter's fatigue that can happen. And so now here, we don't want there to be twists or anything. We want our large rings to all be laying flat. So we're going to hook through that one, hook through 1, 2, and then hook through that one. And then we are going to close. I like to hear those clicks. I don't know if the camera's picking up on it, but it's the ends of the chainmail ring butting up against each other. It's not required, but it's just very satisfying. And it lets me know if I'm like weaving in poor lighting or something that I'm getting it done. Okay, so now we're gonna go to the next step. Let me zoom in just a little. So here you can see we can kind of poke a little and have just all of our rings laying out, all of our center rings, and it, like everything's where it goes. So now this is the center layer. If we're looking at our Celtic star, you can kind of see how they might be starting to look like each other if you've got good pattern recognition. But we've just woven this layer, the ones that I'm holding on to, which is like the center layer of the weave. If you've worked with our previous kits for the helm flower, you might be experiencing, oh, there's a lot of similarity here. There's differences, but you might be able to recognize the similarities too. And so I'm going to pick up one of my open rings. I like to work in my hand, but you can just leave it on the table if that's easier for you. And so I'm just focusing on the rings that are on top of this middle finger. So I just want to be hooking through 1 from this ring and 1 from the next ring. So hooking through 1 and 2. And now I'm going to give that a close. Pet it to make sure it's good. Sometimes if there's a little bit of a sharpness to it, I do like to put my finished pieces through a rotary tumbler with some angled stainless steel shot. But I'm going to rotate around, and that tumbles and burnishes, it cleans up the rings really nicely, makes everything very, very smooth. It doesn't fix poor closures, and so I still try to do my best on, you know, closing the rings as best as I can. But yeah, just like how we did on the first layer, but without that additional horizontal ring, I'm just hooking through 1 and 2, 1 from each of the rings to the left and right, if that makes sense. Because I don't want them to just be stacked, because that would just be stacked. I want to go 1 from this ring and then run from that one. And then close. You'll find I hold on to the ring that I just added because that helps me stay oriented about where is next in line. So hooking through 1 and then 2. We do have some other tutorials where we do a 6-pointed version of this. It's like more of a snowflake and using different colors of anodized aluminum rings. And so if this is tricky for you, that video is linked down in the video description. Hopefully it will be helpful to you. And so there's our 5th ring for this side. And then we're just going to flip it. And so let's say you've dropped your project again and it's the end of the world. You'll be fine. Everything's okay. Just pick up one of the big rings and then we're going to look at it and be like, okay, these 2 big rings don't have a horizontal ring joining them. So this is the side we just did. So I'm going to flip it over and everything will kind of just lay. If you're supporting from that center of like the center of our little Celtic star, then they'll just drape nicely. And now you can start anywhere, but I'm going to do hooking through right here. And if you're having difficulty, I'm actually grabbing these 2 rings with my finger and thumb and kind of just making them be a little more upright as opposed to relaxing under the force of gravity. And so that allows me to insert my ring a little more easily. There we go. And then we're going to come around to the next one, hooking through 1 and then 2. And then we're going to close it. And then coming around, hooking through 1, 2. Making sure that we're not hooking through any of the large rings. That's incorrect. They're not going to lay correctly if we do that. So we're just hooking through those 2 small. And then we're going to close it. Two more, and then we get to move on to the next step. I really like these because this pattern because it is very gratifying, I think, for going, as long as you've got the right ring sizes, you can really make a bunch of them. And I think that's a good bit of fun. Then adding in our last one now. And also, if you're like me and my husband and we run a booth and we have a website and stuff, these are a design that almost always sells well for us, whether we have it in the pendant stage or whether we have included it as a focal point in a larger necklace design. It's really nice. I'd like to experiment more with other ring sizes to be able to make smaller ones, because these, I would love to make them as earrings, but these are just a little large for earrings for my taste. We have sold them successfully as earrings before, but I'd like to make a smaller version too. Just tidying that ring up. And now it doesn't really matter which side is up or down at this point. Or actually, they're perfectly reversible. So the next step is we are going to take 10 of our opened small rings, the 18 gauge 3/16, and we're just going to come around and we're going to lock in this edge. And so if you can see here, right there is where I would like, right there, right there, right where it makes that little like Venn diagram between the 3 layers. That's where I'd like to hook my ring through. And this is something that it may be a little easier for you if the small rings are opened quite wide. But you'll find your favorite way. But if you're having difficulty, perhaps try that, because it'll need to be wide enough to fit. This one's quite narrow, its opening is. And so I feel like I have to be a little more careful about where I'm aiming on the insertion of the ring. Whereas if we have it open just a little wider, then I can just go flump and nice and easy. So just thoughts. And if you all have any tips or suggestions or requests for future tutorials or constructive criticisms, please leave them down in the comments. I love hearing from you guys. Whoop. And that's, I like using these tapered flat nose pliers because whenever things do start to get tight, when we're cramming a bunch of rings in and it's just getting crowded, I have the option to have a finer tip come in. And I could do that same thing with the chain nose, but these were $6. So, and I use them so much in wire wrapping as well. So it's my favorite way. But totally non-essential. You know, as far as the plier part is essential, but what style of plier is entirely up to you and your own preference. I think things that are comfortable in your hand, that's like critical. Having a box style hinge really lends itself to the durability of the pliers, especially if you do a lot of work with stainless steel. We've broken some pliers over the years just from, you know, wear and tear, I suppose. And also having pliers that have springs and no teeth. If your pliers have teeth, that can really mar up the surface of your rings, which is difficult. Like, I don't even know if that would, let me know if you have experience with this, but I don't know that a rotary tumbler could fix that. There we go. Last one of those. And it's looking like something now, huh? So now this actually has the complete, you might be able to recognize now the Celtic Visions pattern. You know, this is the same thing done just as a bracelet, which one of the ways that I used to make this design, which was very frustrating, is I would do 5 links and then I would bring them around and then I'd be trying to fit that ring in the middle. And so I found I like building them from the center out. So now the next step, we are going to take our 4 teeny tiny rings that are 18 gauge 1/8 inch, and our one last, the 26th of the 18 gauge 3/16, and I'm just going to hook through right there and then close it. And this is where I'm going to be attaching my bail, which you could use a decorative store-bought bail that I've attached a little differently, but I've had lots of success with just attaching 2 rings, because whenever they're on a chain or a cord, they just lay next to each other, and I think it makes a really nice look. So that's what these 2 larger rings are. But also this would be the point where I would attach like an ear hook or something as well. Or if I wanted to, if you can picture with me, we've made necklaces before where that ring would be joining these together. And so you can make like a whole wide, the possibilities are endless, you guys. But be sure to come and hang out with us in our Sunday live streams or watch them in the replay from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Central Standard Time, because that's where we explore all these variations within the confines of what's in the kit, as well as being like, ooh, if you have some beads, you can add them here. And people post to our community page on YouTube to show their own work and ideas and creations as well, which is a lot of fun. But I'm getting sidetracked. Okay, so we've done the tip with the bail. And now we're going to come around, and I like to hook the small ring to bring those 2 points together. And then we'll close that. And then I'm just working my way around. Hook, hook. Yum, yum. Do, 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 do. So we could use a thicker ring there, but this will be okay. There was a lovely lady who usually comes to see us whenever we're at Dragon Con named Maria, who weaves the most beautiful Celtic stars I've ever seen. And she incorporates these really excellent, like, anodized aluminum, and I don't know if she uses enameled copper as well, but just so colorful. And also she incorporates some, like, large hold beads, I guess. I don't know, but, like, they're the coolest things I've ever seen, y'all. So please do not feel like what I'm doing right here is the only way to make these. If it sparks an idea in you, please, please, please pursue that. and make your lovely creations, and hopefully show them to us on the community page so we can see them. But it's a lot of fun to make something, I think. And because now, like, these are excellent for gift giving. I like them with a little colorful bead up at the top and put on a hook for hanging on like a Christmas tree, or sun catchers in the window, or like a dangle down for your rear view mirror, or just anything that you feel like needs a little bit of sparkle and charm. You can just, make some chainmail. But that is the core project for the July 2026 Craft Along kit. But your kit will also have, some different cabochons and things, and that's the small rings utilized in this are perfect for making a bezel out of a half Persian 3-in-1, which we do have a tutorial for, which will be maybe on the screen somewhere. But thank you guys so much for hanging out with me, and I will see y'all in our next video. So until then, thank you for being here, and happy crafting. Mwah. Bye.